Coral Hill, how good are they with heavy
Shape.
Now, let's talk to this bloke, Harold the H. P. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Now, he's on assignment searching for a lost grave in the Queensland outback. He's going to tell us what he's found and what his next step is, and this is very interesting. Good morning, Harold.
Yes, good morning. Danny, you're going from heavy shape. There's some heavy thoughts about this because it's a really personal search I'm on here.
Yeah, well, just talking you off here, and these people have been buried. There's no headstones, no really markings except for some rocks. It's so sad our life was, eh? And how did they die?
It is.
How did they die? You tell us the story.
I know how certainly one of them died, and I'll tell you what I found. And importantly, what's my next step? And, of course, as always, there's an Ipswich connection there, which is what I'm telling you. Yeah. Now, before arriving Buckhalden, I found related stories about Muckadilla Boar and Buckhalden Bull Thornton. I've told you about that last couple of weeks. Now, when I was out there, I caught up with Rocco Hunt. Now, he's the star rugby league player of the back-to-back premiers Buckhalden Sandgoaners. Now, Rocco recently was named the inaugural Matt Scott medalist for Player of the Year for Central West Rugby League. Now, Rocco was absolutely delighted when I told him that 80 years ago, his club poached the Queensland captain of Bull Thornton from Ipswich. So he's not upset about that at all. He's actually quite happy. So we haven't forgiven them, but they haven't forgotten either. Now, anyway, I was there in search of the lost grave of Maggie McNeill, as you know, who came driving from Victoria up here to Queensland in the 1880s. Now, family stories included that she and her husband had been killed by Aboriginals. But what had really happened was that in 1890, at a place then called 21 Mile Bore, which is outside of Buckhalden, she drank herself to death. She was buried by the publican, who then moved the hotel, and Maggie has been lost ever since. Now, like I said, finding Maggie is a very personal quest for me because she's actually my great-great-grandaunt.
Oh, really?
And she went droving after caring for her dying sister, who was my great-great-grandmother. So this is very personal. I feel it's up to me to find her. Now, this week, I went to a location between Buckhalden and Longreach and searched the area by foot. Now, we found a number of historic artefacts dating from the 1880s up to the 1920s. We also got a lot of information from the locals, and this is the best kind of information. See, this included a report told by a man who was 100 years old at the time. He passed away 3 years ago. So I never got to speak to him, but his memories were written down, and his information led directly to me discovering what I believe to be, all in a row, 5 or 6 unmarked and to this date unrecorded graves. And the locals knew nothing about it, but it's exactly where he remembered. You know, this is memories from someone 103 years old, effectively, where there was some grave sites. So I absolutely found them. But I've got more to do. You see, I also met with people who gave me mud maps drawn from memories 75 years ago. This is mud maps of the town, or of the settlement. It wasn't even a town. Now, I now know exactly where the hotel was, the post office and telephone exchange, the railway ganger's house, and where the Fettlers lived.
Really?
And that's where it gets interesting. You see, my next expedition, which, Danny, I'm absolutely already planning this for next year, will be to follow up these maps. They're treasure maps in effect. And I'm also going to research the ganger who lived in the settlement shortly after Maggie's death.
Wow.
Now, his name was Miko Spanner. Now, this place back then was called 21 Mile Bore, but it became known as Brixton. It wasn't a town, but it was just a railway siding. Now, Miko, he was on the state school committee, and as the senior railway employee there, he was the de facto mayor for 30 years.
Wow.
So Miko would have known exactly where Maggie's grave was.
Right.
So I've started researching Miko and his family, hoping that I can find living descendants who may be able to provide some information. So any Spanner family members out there, get on to Danny. Let me know. Now, Miko's father and father-in-law, they both worked on the railways. Miko's brother was a school headmaster. One of his daughter's father-in-law was an insolvent builder and alcoholic who had a 12-month prohibition order brought against him. He wasn't allowed to drink for 12 months. They could do that back then. Another daughter's husband was a shearer, and before serving on Horn Island and Bougainville during the Second World War, he did his training at Redbank and spent a lot of time here at Ipswich. So like I said, Danny, even though I'm on a quest to find a lost grave at Outback Queensland, everything, as always, leads straight back here to Ipswich, which is the centre of the universe, isn't it?
Well, it is, and geez, they're good stories. And I saw you online in the Facebook trunching through the bush and setting up where you're looking to find, what were there, rocks around it or something, were there?
Yeah, well, there was a couple of sites there that looked like they may have been grave sites lined by stones, but that could well be the case. But those 5 or 6 sunken sites that I mentioned about, grave sites, they're in the right place. Once I got that information from the 103-year-old, they're in the right place, and I think that's where she is. Or certainly close to that. But the Spanner family, they were all in the railway, so I'm hoping someone in Ipswich, which of course is the home of the railway workshops, someone knows a Spanner family who can get me in contact.
Get
because
the
if we can
Spanners,
find
get
someone
in contact.
alive, living,
Yeah,
we can find Maggie.
Get on the Facebook of West Bremer Radio, or how do we read this story or other stories?
Yeah, history out there. You can go to my socials on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or go directly to the website, historyouthere.com.
Well, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. There he is, Mr. Harold the HP Cockadoodle-Doo with more Ipswich heritage. Thanks a lot, Harold.